What's up, guys? Got another new video here for you. This is Tuned In Sports, back with another reaction video to the Lions versus Packers game. Just wrapped it up, Monday Night Football, and got some things to talk about with it. So my name's Bryson.
Steve. And I'm Don.
And so the game just wrapped up a couple minutes ago. Final score, I believe, was 35-17, if I'm not mistaken. And for the most part, I think it went probably about how a lot of people would expect it to. It was close for a half. The Lions were actually leading the game. As a matter of fact, they got to the magical number 17. I know a little something about that number, so it was kind of nice to see that. But they got to the magical number 17. They were at 17-14 in the half, and then coming out in the second half, just couldn't really put much together. And when they did put things together, it seems like a turnover of some kind of halted them every time. So unfortunate that they had to lose, but I think overall, the Lions weren't really expected to do much this year anyways, so I'd say the Packers are the better team, and I think that the better team won. I think the Lions put forth a good effort, and eventually just not really having a defense kind of caught up with them. But with that being said, I think not having Okuda out there is not helping matters, because their corners definitely could use some help, I feel. And then also that other corner that they had, the rookie guy, Melifamu, he also is injured as well, so he wasn't playing. Or I don't know if he was injured going into the game or he got injured.
He played.
Oh, okay. At one point they said that he went out, I thought. So,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say, nonetheless, I feel like last year defense was something that really was a struggle for the Lions, and I think this year it's also a struggle for the Lions. Although I do think certain parts of the defense played pretty okay. I think the defensive line has shown a little bit of promise. I think the corners are not great, and I think the linebackers are okay at times. Other times they are lacking a little bit, but I just think defense as a whole was not very good tonight. I mean, there was very few drives, especially in the second quarter, where the Packers weren't going right down the field. And I mean, in all honesty, it was the same with the first quarter. I think the Packers had the ball 3 times and scored twice. So, take it for what it is, I guess. But I think the better team won tonight, and it was going to be tough to beat the Packers at home. And so I mean, Goff probably could have played better, but at the same time, he led the team in rushing, which tells you what the running game was doing. So at the end of the day, he's not Stafford, and I think tonight is a good example of the difference between the two. Maybe if they had Stafford tonight, maybe he could have made some more plays with his arm as opposed to Goff. But at the end of the day, it was just a difficult game for him, and unfortunate that they lost, but not necessarily one they were expected to win. So with that in mind, I think they performed all right tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, coming off the last week's performance for the Packers, you kind of knew that they were going to be ready for this one in a way. It was a good first half by the Lions. I think kind of like how they should be able to play it all year, right? If they do that all 4 quarters, that's going to be a pretty good recipe for them if they are able to do that. But it seems like they can only get 2 quarters, or I think, like you said, mentioned earlier, like a half. They played 2 good halves out of 2 games. So if they're able to actually put 4 quarters together, we can kind of be a little bit more competitive, chance of winning a game with it there. So, but I mean, Goff didn't have horrible numbers. He was pretty good, 26 for 36. For 246 for 2 touchdowns and then 1 pick, which was the one near the end, which was forcing it, of course. At that point, garbage time. But yeah, for him to be leading the team in rushing, that's not good. That's what those running backs are for. And once you get behind, that pretty much eliminates the running game. But you got to stick with it and get those guys to 15 to 20 carries, if possible, at least between the two of them, 25 to 30. Because again, that's like I think what they said, that's their strong point is the offensive line. So use them, because it's the receivers are mediocre at best with it. So going to need to run, be run heavy with it. And then Aaron Jones was just Aaron Jones. Tonight, I mean, he had 4 touchdowns, three receiving and 1 rushing. And, like I said, Rodgers was 22, 27, 255, 4 touchdowns, no picks. So that's the Rodgers that everybody is accustomed to and seeing after what they saw last week. So it's the typical game kind of overthinking with where Detroit's at and their situation with rebuilding. It's kind of to be expected. So
I think it's you might as well get used to seeing this, because this is what it's going to look like for the rest of the year. And we're not blessed with a nice schedule either. We got one of the toughest schedules in all of football for a team that finished 5-11 or whatever we finished last year. Ridiculous to me. But when you're that bad, no matter who you play, it's not an easy game. I mean, I don't care who you play. It's not an easy win on the schedule. I don't care who they put in front of you. When you're only winning that many games, you suck. And there's a reason for it. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon. I think they'll get better throughout the season. Playing a decent half of each game is not really a recipe for winning them. Whether you like the comeback or you like coming out looking decent and then not doing anything, it's up to you what you think looks better. But neither one is a recipe for winning. I don't know. I think the defense is pretty ridiculous overall. I thought the offense in the first half looked fine. Matter of fact, we were talking about it. I gave them a B+ in the first half. I thought they didn't really do anything bad. They were moving the ball up and down the field, scoring points. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of positives to take from that first half. The second half, though, to be that successful in the first half, move the ball up and down the field like they did, and then in the second half can't put any points on the board, how is that even happening? Let's face it. I mean, and the Packers are not some defensive juggernaut. They're not anywhere near the Niners defense. And we were putting up points like the Niners were not even there last week. So, I don't know. It's frustrating. For me, it's frustrating. But I'm also trying to keep a level head with it, because we're not supposed to be any good. That's not the goal of this year's team. So, I don't know. We'll just sit here and continue to watch bullshit out in the field and, sit here and pout about it. That's all I can do. And just wait for this season to be over. That's all we can do.
It's always nice to be having that outlook 2 weeks in, waiting for the season to be over.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, next week or this week coming up, they get the Ravens, so
right.
it'll be a hardball, visit. Jim will probably be on the sidelines for John's game here because it's in Detroit. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Harbaugh brothers are hanging out doing this. But yeah, it's just
he'll probably come and ruin Michigan. Jim won't be paying attention to what he's supposed to be doing, and Michigan's going to lose as well. So then we can get all around shit play. It's gonna be wonderful. See it happening already.
But yeah, so next week they'll have to be definitely heavy on the run defense. So we'll see how they do against Lamar.
I don't see it. We don't have enough talent. We're just not there. That's what the big difference is, I think. We're just not there. We don't have a wide receiver anybody can name without really looking, thinking hard about it.
Yeah, I thought, I was like, is that guy's name Syphilis? I was like, what? Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
No, it's true. I mean, you can't hardly name anybody that's playing. I mean, Williams isn't a household name either.
No.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him.
No, Hawkinson is the only one that's, has a chance.
I mean, Hawkinson had a wonderful catch in the end zone tonight. That was a great catch.
Yeah.
And I mean, that guy's already proven he's the legit guy. You go to him, he'll catch it. I think he's the right. I think they'd be foolish to ever let him out of there. But
with that being said, they'll probably do it. I'm just kidding.
no, he'll probably might get traded after the season's over. Say, oh, I'm done playing here. I want to be moved.
I'll go join the Rams.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's kind of what I'm going to do is kind of hope the Rams play well, because at least I can watch somebody from the Detroit team that was half decent do something with it. So I'm hoping the Rams continue on playing well, because we're definitely not going to see it from the Lions.
I'm just waiting to hear Reggie Ragland's assessment of the talent on the team this year. Once we figure out what he thinks about him, then maybe we can figure out kind of where you're at. Last year they had the talent of the Chiefs, so I'm thinking this year maybe, I don't know. Be interesting to hear what he had to say about it.
There's the October 24th. They get to go play the Rams, so that'll be,
Yeah, that'll be the game.
Stafford would be like old times, right? he'd be like, so this is how it is. Huh. Must be nice.
Always wondered what it would have been like being on the other sideline. Not having to be the one dealing with this.
Exactly. It's like somebody else facing Rocky's pitching. Yeah, this is nice. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
So
they got a rough schedule this year. They're be in for some tough games ahead.
But hey, at least you get to play pretty much all of our teams: the Eagles, Broncos, and the Bengals. So, of course, I said last year, well, given the fact that the Bengals and the Eagles were playing each other, we're guaranteed that for somebody to get a win, and then of course we couldn't even do that. So, not going to say that, but somebody's got to lose. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Either that, or like last season, we can both just lose and then both be disappointed. So,
yeah, it's going to be a long season. I mean, I was talking about 4 wins that I thought possibly at the beginning. I'm thinking less than that now. I don't see us being able to beat too many teams. We don't have an easy schedule.
Yeah,
I mean, Atlanta might be one of the only ones.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a given by the time that game rolls around, probably.
Yeah. Maybe Minnesota depends on when they fire Zimmer or something like that. By that time maybe.
But that's a horrible schedule.
No, it's difficult.
It's brutal. I mean, we're going to be in trouble. But what's new? It doesn't really matter what the schedule looks like. We can't win anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, like you say, I mean, it's just one of those things where that's kind of what you're stuck dealing with for now, because they pretty much lost their offense and multiple players of really pretty much anybody of note on the team last season. I mean, outside of some rookies and startups that maybe people know about if they're Lions fans, but if you're not a Lions fan, I mean, outside of, like you said, maybe Hawkinson, unless you watch a lot of college football, good luck naming really any players for the Lions right now. I mean, you're gonna have a hell of a time if you don't pay attention to them and you didn't watch college or the draft or something. I mean, you're gonna have a hell of a time naming a player on either side of the ball, unless maybe Jared Goff because he was involved in that trade. But I mean, other than that, so
yeah, which is unfortunate because I think talking with you, Paul, on them, that this is the year that they just are dealing with whatever they have and the cover pretty much, quote unquote, and then it's going to be another year of this too because once this year is just getting rid of all the contracts and then who wants to play here and who doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's going to be another. I have a feeling it's going to be another year of this time because you're going to get like all rookies or whoever's in there. So it's going to be a maturation. So year 3 is kind of where I expect some movement forward at that time because this is going to be tough because, like you said, it's just this year was just cleaning house and trying to figure out who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. But then everybody ends their contract at this year. So you're going to bring in a whole new roster pretty much next year.
Yeah, no, I mean,
so it looks rough.
Well, and that's not even including whether or not they're going to be addressing the quarterback position in the draft or not. I mean, because who knows? I mean, I'm thinking that they might want to, or they might be looking at doing that. I don't know if that's necessarily the right move or not, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised at all if they said, we want to draft our guy and, get him in there. So if they take up a draft pick, taking another quarterback, then that's one more position that, could have been filled somewhere else. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's just the story of rebuilding, I guess. But unfortunately, the rebuild's been going on for a few years.
It's again just dealing with all the mess that everybody's done before you, right?
Yep.
It's just that's just the problem with it. It's just weeding out all the bad decisions and moves that they've done before from previous coaches since Caldwell. So that's just where they're at. That's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
no, I agree. It's a mess. And I mean, all of the goodwill and stuff that I think has went on since they came in with this new coaching staff, it's still going to come down to if shit doesn't change. I mean, you're not going to make the fans happy. You can change all the culture you want to. If it ain't showing up in the win column, it ain't any different. You can think all you want to about, well, this is the type of player we want. Well, okay, that sounds good. You can have all the type players you want, but if you're losing, you ain't getting the right players, obviously. So I don't know. It's too early in the game to be critical of this coaching staff or the management at this stage. I mean, well, maybe not the management because they've been there, the ownership has been there forever, right? But I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about the coaching staff or anything like that. But, I mean, let's face it, they weren't given a whole lot of talent, and like you said, it's a rebuild. You got to let that kind of take place and run its course. So, I mean, by the end of the year, I'm sure they'll be playing better than what they are. Because there is, if you look at the game, I mean, this one and last one, there was times where they looked really good. I mean, the ball was moving right down the field. Even the defense had some spurts where they were playing decent. But, it's just too much. I mean, and we're giving up 35 points. And we gave up, 40-something last week?
Yep.
I mean, you just can't win games giving that many points. And obviously the offense isn't, they're not good enough to be asked to score every time down the field.
Yeah.
In order to keep in a game. I mean, you just can't do it. And I thought we kind of overachieved in the first half. I was like, shit, we had 3 scoring drives. That's pretty good. Even though one was just a field goal, it still was still points. And we went into the halftime with the lead. I was feeling really good. I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
This is the kind of game we need to be in.
Well,
Man,
I mean,
where did it go?
well, I mean, truthfully, it wasn't even necessarily just the first half. I mean, the offense had a number of decent drives. I mean, just would get stopped by a turnover or a penalty or a fumble, interception. I mean, or going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, I think that was the turning point.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, when they went for it on 4th and 1 and didn't get that, it just felt like the wind kind of went from their sails a little bit. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, overall, they still had a number of times where they were going down the field, but they'd cost themselves with a penalty or a turnover and wouldn't get any points out of it. And when you're playing against a team like the Packers, or when you have a defense like they do, then those just kill you. You can't afford to get down, otherwise you can't, you have a hell of a time catching up and getting your defense to stop them enough for you to do anything. So.
No, and then when you get down, then the offense becomes one-dimensional, and
Yep.
you can't get back in the game that way. But I mean, contrary to that, they did do that against the Niners. But I don't know, whatever. The point being that we're in for a long season, and get ready, Lions fans, buckle in, because
L is for Lion.
yeah, exactly. We're losing. So it's gonna be a long season.
But yeah. Well, anyways, what a Monday night game for you. That wraps up this week's full-on review. Make sure you go check out, if you guys are interested in checking out the review for the Broncos and the Eagles and the Bengals game, make sure you go check that video out. That video was posted separately. This was just simply the Monday Night Football edition of Tuned In Sports here, since the Lions were playing solely. And we're going to be running it back again next week when Philly takes on the Dallas Cowboys in AT&T Stadium down there in Dallas. And so, we're going to be running that back again. We just get into the game, talk about the Eagles, and then the Lions, the Broncos, and the Bengals games will be their own separate review on the channel. So, make sure you guys check that out. And if you guys are a fan of the Bengals, the Lions, the Broncos, the Eagles, to subscribe to the channel and check out our content. We're constantly posting stuff about it, constantly, getting upset and things like that, which who doesn't enjoy that? And, constantly posting just update videos and weekly reviews talking about our teams and everything they've got going on in the world of our teams. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, then this is the place to be.
Feel like misery.
Well, exactly. Misery loves company, so I guess we love subscribers. And misery loves company. So, but with that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. And definitely check out our Instagram channel as well, at Intuned11. Always posting memes and stuff like that, because we can get a laugh out of that, and when we record, all we do is cry a lot of times. So it's nice to keep it mixed up a little bit. But anyways, make sure you go check that out. You can get updates about all the stuff that we got going on, and sometimes updates about when new videos are dropping. So with that being said, guys, I'm Bryson.
I'm Steve.
And I'm done.
See you guys in the next video.